I always think about those old Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney movies where they'd say, let's put on a show. And I feel now, when I look back at it, that we were kind of like, let's open a school, and that it would be just that simple. And boy, we really learned that it's much more complex than that. And what is great about it is, I still feel like I'm learning. I know that you feel that as well. Every day, every year presents new opportunities to be able to learn things. I love that we get to learn from teachers and from kids.
Amazing. Humbling. So Nancy and I worked together on a very large school change project. We were thinking about the educational experience of about 5,300 kids and designing all the professional learning for teachers at that time. And we decided we want to go a little smaller. And we looked around, scanned the neighborhood, and there are very strong elementary schools and pretty good middle schools, but we were struggling with the kinds of high schools that young people needed. There are good high schools in this neighborhood, but they aren't career-focused, and they aren't developing social and emotional skills with kids. So we decided we're going to open a school. We have no idea how to do this, but it's going to be a public school. So we met with the superintendent, and the superintendent said, I think that sounds like an awesome idea.
When Dr. Fisher and Dr. Frey see something in you, it makes you believe in yourself.
I think that if I was going to describe Nancy in a sentence, it would have to say something about her overwhelming care with hidden immense power and knowledge.
Doug is a man and professional who has incredibly high expectations for other people, but nobody higher than the expectations he has for himself.
The way that they engage with their students, the way that they engage with their teachers is something that I've always tried to emulate. I think it starts there.
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My mom was a teacher, and from the time that I was young myself, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I knew that that was really what I was destined to be. And in my senior year in high school, I became pregnant and got married, but that really kind of interrupted my education. When my own children were in elementary school, my husband at the time said, time for you to go back to school. And at the ripe old age of 32, became a classroom teacher. And I was a special education teacher and have been in education ever since.
I think I'm somewhat of a stereotype. I always wanted to be a teacher. In elementary school, I was the peer tutor. I had after-school reading clubs at my house, teaching the neighbors' kids. I mean, this is just part of me. When I went to college, I changed my major 7 times. I kept thinking, I want to do that, I want to do that. Every time I took a class that I really liked, I changed my major to do that. I was an English major, I was a psychology major, I was a pre-med major, I was going to do health education. I've changed my major a lot because I love the idea of learning stuff. But I always knew I was going to teach something.
Doug and Nancy really don't claim expertise, but they demonstrate expertise. They have managed schools. They have influenced change at the school level, at the classroom level, at the district level. And their expertise is not simply in a list of publications, but it is in the impact that they have achieved with real schools, with real teachers, with real students.
In 1997, I was hired to do some training in Florida. A couple of weeks before the training, I get a message that the woman who hired me had resigned, and they hired a new person to take over her job. And this new person was going to pick me up at the airport. That new person happened to be Nancy Frey. I show up at the airport in Florida, Nancy picks me up, we start talking, we go to our first training, we had a great day together. Then we're back in the car to drive to the next city. We have a great conversation. Over the time I said to her, wow, you should come and get a doctoral degree. You'd be great in the doctoral program. And she said, I don't even have a master's degree yet. And that started a conversation about her ability to go to graduate school. And she enrolled in San Diego State in our summer-only master's program and got her master's degree. And then Ian and I had this gigantic grant to help school improvement efforts in San Diego, and we needed a coordinator. and we offered her a job, and in 1999, in December, she quit her position in Florida, flew across the country, came to graduate school, and coordinated professional development for us.
My claim to fame is 20-odd years ago I hired Doug Fisher, and our claim to fame is several years later Doug and I hired Nancy.
The wonderful thing about Doug and Ian is that both of them are the kind of people that are always thinking about what could be. Aren't I lucky that I get to be in the room with those people as they wonder about what could be?
We started this school, Health Sciences, because first of all, we wanted to have a real-time experience with students and teachers so our work would become more authentic and more credible. And so our first responsibility while we're here are the 700 students and their families and teachers.
The teachers are different here at our school than from other schools and where the middle school I came from, because they're more connected to the students. Dr. Fisher is one of those people that can talk to people, like anybody. And if you're feeling down, he will always find some kind of way to make you feel better. And I think that's just something so special a teacher can have. You can't learn if you're not in the right place, you know? Education is important, but sometimes personal life can interfere. And so Dr. Fisher helps us with that.
There was a young man in 9th grade who was with me, who was among the most difficult 9th graders I've ever met in my life. Angry young man, I'm not sure he liked the world. He certainly didn't like us.
I started here in 2009. When I came here, I was in a really bad situation. I had a really bad, I would say, mentality. Growing up, I grew up in seeing a lot of gangs, seeing that all that type of stuff was normal to me. I seen that as a lifestyle.
We were reflecting as a faculty, a group of 9th grade teachers, are we doing anything for him? Is it any better that he goes to school here? Have we changed him? Has he changed us? And we weren't sure.
It was really hard at the beginning because I wasn't used to the culture, the climate of the school. It was just, for me, it was too welcoming.
It turns out this young man really liked science, even though he didn't like school. And his science teacher was the first person to reach him.
I started to realize that, my lifestyle it wasn't the lifestyle to live. I started to see that no matter how many times I failed, the staff were always there. Doug and Nancy are a big part of my life. That helped me realize that what I was going through, what I was living it could change. I was able to change.
He changed his behavior at school. He changed his commitment at school. And when he graduated, he decided he wanted to go to the military.
So when I joined the military, I knew the reason why I was there. I knew that I wanted to change. My biggest thing was to leave the streets. I wanted to leave the streets, and I can honestly say that without the support of Doug and Nancy, I wouldn't be here to tell you guys my story. Right now, I'm attending a community college, and hopefully, one more year, I'll get my counseling credential.
In so many ways, Nancy is freakishly strong. She is not just physically strong, but she's emotionally strong, and she's mentally strong. And she is able to just has this uncanny ability to make people relax and be who they are. And she knows just what to say to a kid or to an adult to just make things okay.
And Dr. Frey, I was outside, freshman year. I can't remember if I got kicked out or if I was upset and I just sat outside. So I just remember my head being in my legs, and her, as busy as she is, she sits down. We sit there for about an hour and 30 minutes. No words spoken, she just still sitting there, Every time I peek up, she's still sitting there. And from there, that showed me that you don't know who I am. You don't know if this is something that you want to get into. And she didn't care. I never met such an amazing, powerful woman. She's like a superwoman.
The respect that Doug and Nancy show to all students is something that I value deeply. I just so value the fact that they really dig deep to make learning accessible for all students, no matter what your challenges, no matter what your background is, no matter what your language is, no matter what your income is. I am here for you. I am here to make learning clear. I am here to make you know that you can be successful. I am here to see you thrive and to help you thrive, and to see the potential. And that, above all else, is how they treat people and how they make people feel.
It's how I see them treat everyone that they come in contact with. And it's really true to who they are. And I know that because when you write with someone, you really get to see who they are on the inside. And they are those genuine, cheerful, happy, caring people through and through, even when they're burning the midnight oil trying to get words on a page.
When I moved to health sciences, I did not have a college degree. I didn't tell anybody, but I kind of stopped going to school. Word got around to Doug. He said, based on the connections you have with the students, based on your work that you've done here, I think you'll be a great teacher. And he asked me what I thought about that, and I said, you know, that was a goal, but I don't know that I can do it because I have responsibilities. And he said, don't be silly. We'll support you, we'll push you, let's get you back in school. And with their support, I was able to finish and complete my degree and eventually complete my teaching credential.
My students knew that I was trying to become nationally board certified. They were part of the video process, the writing process. I had one student who I had Friday and told her, I'm gonna check my results tonight and I'm really nervous. And she came in Monday to ask me what happened. And I failed, and I talked to them about failing the first time. And that was really hard. They watched me try again in the process and go through the filming and do all the writing and talk about the reflecting and all of that. And then I had students see me celebrate who had been in the film, and they were really happy.
I would say that Doug is the type of person who always has an idea for you. He sees something in every single person that he interacts with. He sees something from day one, from the first conversation. He sees your potential. You know that you have someone there for you, and the feedback that they provide makes your teaching better. And as teachers, you go in fully confident knowing that what you're doing for your kids is actually helped them to be successful.
And when I think about the two of them together, I would think that Doug and Nancy are unstoppable.
If there was a Hollywood for education, Dr. Fisher would be at the top. Does this go in the bloopers or?
Probably. You never know where stuff's gonna end up, right?